Hey everyone, David Abram here, back again, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about shame language since I've seen a lot of that lately. I've seen a lot of it with some of my relatives, and I've encountered this on a daily basis upon Thanksgiving and visiting some of my relatives, and I just want to talk a little bit about what I would do as a MGTOW to cope with it. First of all, shame language is something you may, as a MGTOW, experience from time to time, whether it come from your coworkers, your friends, your family, or just overall the media itself. And when you're exposed to the shame language, if you haven't been exposed to the red pill, let's say you live in a blue pill world, this language hurts. And it can dwell on a person after a while and leave them depressed. But once you take the red pill and you find a MGTOW, such as I have and many other YouTubers have here on YouTube, as time goes on and you further digest the red pill, you start to become immune to this shame language, and the shame language no longer takes its effect. You've gained immunity, and these manginas, simps, and white knights who inflict this shame language on people really, in the reality of sense, are jealous. And here's why I say that. When they look at you and you look liberated, you look happy, you don't look overly worked, you're not struggling to make ends meet for a wife and a kid and a family, and you're able to do what interests you and pursue everything that you ever wanted to pursue, and basically be in control of how you live your life, they realize when they look at you, they could have done the same. And at some point, they had the same exact opportunity as you. And when they look into your eyes and see this happy, egotistic, and carefree man, it's like they're looking at an inner reflection of themselves, or their potential selves, of what they could have done, and potentially what lifestyle they could have chosen, but they didn't. Instead, they fell into the blue pillar's trap. Those manginas who resent you for doing what makes you happy are basically, when you look at them, you see potentially an exhausted man who is an overconsumer, always trying to make ends meet through his paychecks and salary to support his nagging wife, who constantly wants him to work more to bring in more so she can spend more, and children who are liabilities on his part, or may be liabilities on his part. And when they realize the full extent of their circumstance and situation and look at yours, they just can't handle it. The reason they can't handle it is because they could have done the same, but didn't. And now, their last attempt to make themselves feel higher than you is to essentially shame you by saying things like, oh, you could have had this, you could have had that. And that this that they're referring to is basically kids, a nagging wife, an exhausting job, probably a corporate job, and basically playing the role of provider and being an overconsumer, and being basically a slave to a dictator, which is their woman or their spouse, or whatever the relationship may be. But since you don't have that, and you avoided that matrix and the trap, and they fell into it, they don't really feel as if they have anything worthy of showing in comparison to you. And so, when they realize this, it really tees them off. Now, the way I usually cope with this type of shame language is I either play along with the game, meaning when they say something that I identify with as shame language, I would essentially throw on that poker face, like, ooh, boo-hoo, kind of mask, maybe I should have did this or did that, when deep down, I know I'm as happy as I can be. I'm able to do all the hobbies I ever wanted to do, and I know I have enough to fend for myself and make ends meet, and I know that if I ever wanted to buy something or make a huge transaction, the only person I would ever have to consult with is myself. I'm not being ruled by the pussy, and the pussy is not there to dictate my every action. For the first time in my life, perhaps, I know I'm in control, full control, and nothing is to hold me back, unlike your mangina counterparts who are so sucked into the matrix, and when they see you, it revives some part of their brain, and they realize, oh my goodness, what did I do? Oh, so this guy thinks he's all this and that, huh? No, I'm just fine. Something's got to be wrong with him. Deep down, they know you're sane. And they know you're sane because of your well-being and your overall appearance of not being exhausted, chances are, and not working down to the nitty-gritty bone. You know, you're free. You're actually free. A real free man. And when looking at you, they know they're not. But they know they could have been. And because of that, when they see somebody who is MGTOW and see a man going his own way, they are angry. They are jealous, resentful, and they break down on the inside. They will never show this on the surface, chances are, because of their shaming language. But I think deep down, they resent you because that was what they could have had, and they don't. They fell heels first over into the blue pill matrix, the rat race, the loser's game, as I may quote it, because let's face it, the way society pins us men is that essentially we're all losers. This game is designed for us to lose, and there is no way we come out on top. But if you're a red pillar, and you've come to terms with that, as time goes on, and you further ingest the red pill, you learn there is a way out for me, and the way out is to simply not play that game. Never mind trying to correct the game or fix the game, just don't play it. And that's what you do. You stop playing the game and you go on your merry way. And shame language is just an attempt to basically try to pull you back into it. But if you've taken the red pill, you're already immune. And even if you're only partially immune, as you go more into the red pill through YouTube videos and forums, and even just overall with your inner self, as your journey continues with MGTOW, you become even more immune to the shame language, to the point where, before long, you just start not giving a flying fuck about what anyone thinks. You could care less about being socially accepted, and you could care less about meeting society's expectations. You've ultimately become yourself, your inner self, and you've made peace with yourself. So when you hear this shame language, gentlemen, don't let it get you down. You could either rebut the shame language, depending on what they say, by saying when they ask, why don't you want to find that special someone? And maybe you could reply with something like, I like my money, or I like my happiness. Even if you never actually come out to say this, you could definitely renew that thought process in your head. That's what I would do anyway as a MGTOW. So, just remember, when you hear this shame language, gentlemen, it's really jealousy. It's jealousy. It's pittiness. It's resenting you because you have decided not to play the game, and you are truly the free man. So, don't let the shame language get you down. Continue to go your own way, and continue to do your own thing. I say this to all MGTOWs watching this and newcomers, because MGTOW is growing every day. The community's growing every day, and I think in the future to come, it's going to continue to grow, because things are only going to get worse, such as shaming. And as MGTOW grows, I think in the end, MGTOW is going to have more to show for in its name itself and its followers than any mangina, white knight, or simp who has a spouse and children and is now working a corporate job and basically playing the role of provider and over-consumer. I think MGTOW itself has a lot more to show than any of those manginas put together. So, to men going their own way out there, just continue to do what you've always been doing and rejoice in the ideas that you're free, you're liberated, and not being strapped down and slave to the pussy. You are in control. And there's nothing more satisfying than to know that you are the author of your fate. So, if you guys are watching this, thanks for watching and peace out. Hail MGTOW. Later.